Hey folks, as some of you know, I am a recording musician. I do have a Bandcamp page. I have somewhere close to 30 recordings that I've done, from ambient to classical to medieval to alt rock to pop, you name it. I've dabbled. Um, Play just about all the instruments on the recordings, including cellos, guitars, ukes, mandolins, anything with strings, folky stuff, folky string instruments. But one instrument that has stood me in great stead for a number of years now might surprise you because it's not a string instrument at all. And it's such a workhorse, I thought, man, it really does deserve its own video. So those of you who use or want to do strings or keyboard parts on your recordings as I do, and I've done recordings entirely with keyboards, including one that I'm putting out soon that is a kind of ambient style thing. I use this guy, and I bought it probably 10 years ago now, and it's still going strong. This is the M Audio 49E, and it's a full-size keyboard with modulation and pitch bend, and it has a octave switch here at the end, as you can see right here. It's fully MIDI capable. It's USB. I've used it with GarageBand. I've used it with Logic. I've used it with Ableton, and probably other stuff as well. I've synced it up to MIDI to keyboard modules. I've sold them now, but I used to have a couple of old digital modules, and I use this to key in the sounds. And I've used them with DAWs and straight into computers as well. And I have to say, this thing is a beast. I mean, for a piece of plastic, it really has stood me in good stead. I've probably made, gosh, just about all my 30 albums using this. Maybe about 25 of them. And some of the pieces that I've made, I've probably done 20, 30 keyboard parts on it. So this thing gets extensive use. It's not fully weighted. It's not that expensive. But they're full size and they feel decent. They feel like good organ keys, like church organ keys. They don't feel like those flimsy, slightly smaller keys that you get on a lot of keyboards and cheap synthesizers or modules. So yeah, I think this thing deserves a plug. I mean, it's just been such a workhorse and stood me in such good stead. I've never had a piece of M Audio equipment before, but based on my experience with this thing, I wouldn't hesitate to buy another one, another piece of their equipment, because this thing just keeps working and has done really well. It takes a beating too. I've dropped it a few times. Fits normally on a keyboard stand, and yeah, I had it on a keyboard rack for a while. I sold a bunch of stuff when I moved, so now I just put it on the desk when I want to play it and just plug it in. I'm using Logic, and it works seamlessly with their patches. So yeah, just wanted to point that out. Every once in a while, you never know, some of you who do guitar work or string work may have a need for keys. So I thought, why not? I mean, it's such a good piece of gear. I should do a video on it. Another thing that I've done in the past is orchestrated music. I took music theory to a pretty advanced level, including college, but also at the Royal College of Music when I was a kid. And one thing I've always wanted to do is to write orchestrated music, and this allows me to do that. I've used, when I was using GarageBand, I used their orchestra simulators, and I did a full classical recording. I would record the string parts one at a time, then record the woodwinds, the brass, any percussion, any other instruments that I wanted to include, and then I would try and pan them in the mix, similar to where they sit in a traditional orchestra spacing. And I played in orchestras as a kid, so I had some experience with that. I kind of know how most orchestras lay out. And that was fun. And what allowed me to do that, because obviously I can't afford an orchestra, is this keyboard and some software. And yeah, I did full orchestrated pieces on this thing, which if you follow the link at the end of in my video description, you can find my recordings. I think the first one I did was called Father to Father, and it has a bunch of sort of classical style pieces that were all done on this with that GarageBand orchestra software. Since then, I've been using it with Logic stuff, because they do have orchestral sounds. They also have some great electronic stuff as well, if you want to do swells or pads, or you know, just backing your music, or even if you want to do sequence stuff as well. This works great with it, and it's not expensive. I think this was around $100 at the time. It might be a little bit more now, but yeah, it's been a real beast. So there it is, the M Audio Keystation 49E. Yeah, great piece of gear. I recommend, if you need, you know, just a basic keyboard for your software, get one of these. You can get them on Amazon or anywhere else. These are good machines. All right, folks, we'll get back to the strings next time. See you on the next one.